Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News, and welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. Alright, so today, apparently, Donald Rumsfeld died. Woohoo! Yeah! It's unfortunate that he didn't die 25 years ago. It would have saved us at least a little bit of pain. Donald Rumsfeld being one of the worst cunts that ever walked the face of the earth. And I think that that's really not being fair to people who are cunts. Because there's a lot of people that are cunts and they're not fucking torturers. They're not fucking war criminals. They didn't do a deal with Saddam Hussein. And so many other evil things. I'm going to point this out a few times tonight. Donald Rumsfeld, well, I'll wait just a moment for you to catch up. Hey, Craig! Does it sound okay? Okay, thanks. I'm about ready for a bong hit. I don't know about the rest of you, but it feels like the clock says 4:20 on the wall. We need a big clock that says 4:20. Why don't we have a big clock that says 4:20? Someone tell me. So, where were we? We were getting ready to take a big bong hit. No, we were talking about Donald Rumsfeld. And again, I'm probably going to point this out a few times tonight. The thing is that on September 10th, 2001, right? On September 10th, 2001, Donald Trump took the podium at the Pentagon and explained to the press that the Pentagon misplaced $4 trillion. 4 with an F, trillion with a T. $4 trillion on September 10th, 2001. This is something that Donald Rumsfeld did. He went to the podium at the Pentagon and he explained on September 10th, 2001 that the Pentagon had somehow misplaced $4 trillion. Okay, this is what Donald Rumsfeld did on September 10th, 2001. He explained that the Pentagon misplaced $4 trillion. And then on September 11th, 2001, something happened that made everybody forget about that. How convenient. How convenient. Coincidence? I find that very hard to believe. So, again, this is who Donald Rumsfeld was. Thank God I can say was in the past tense, as if he's fucking dead and burning in hell where he belongs. That being said, on September 10th, 2001, Donald Rumsfeld explained to the press that the Pentagon had somehow misplaced $4 trillion. September 10th, 2001. And then something happened the next day to make everyone forget that the Pentagon had fucking stashed away $4 trillion to do whatever kind of nefarious bullshit they decide to do. With the big old smiling face of fucking shit-eating goddamn Donald Rumsfeld. Burn forever, you fucking piece of shit. I'm ready for a bong hit. How about you? So, and in case you don't know, that's the way I feel about Donald Rumsfeld and all of his buddies, Hillary Clinton, George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, they all love him. And, of course, all the war profiteers do. Come on, $4 trillion scooped off the Pentagon budget? $4 trillion. As in a T, $4 trillion. $4 trillion misplaced by the Pentagon the day before September 11th. Huh. Huh. How convenient that is for you fucking horrible human beings. Not you. The other horrible human beings. I kill me. So that's where I am at when it comes to Donald Rumsfeld. If anybody would like to talk about Donald Rumsfeld, I'd love to have that. If you want to talk about Bill Cosby, we can do that too. If you'd like to talk about, let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, I have an awesome video from Kennedy talking about the building collapse in Miami and explaining that there may be something nefarious that happened in the building collapse that no one is talking about, which is, is this little tiny piece of what she says, but it's very important. I really like that video. I did it last minute. I was like, oh, we got to do this one because it's a very, very powerful video, and I think everybody should see it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing these damn things. I'm not here to waste your time. That one's very good. It's coming up momentarily. And I have video about Trump on the border and all kinds of stuff. I got Bill Cosby stuff. I got Donald Rumsfeld stuff. So, but I really need a bong hit. We have to do a bong hit now, or I'm not gonna make it. How about you? How do you feel? Do you feel that way too? I'm just gonna eat a little bit of powdered brownies here. So good. All right. I made a fresh batch of brownies this afternoon, and this is what's left over in the bottom of the pan after, at the end of the brownie tray. So I don't like to waste things, so I make sure to eat that up. Oh, I need another bite. I only had one small brownie today because all that was left was the crumbs. So I was like, I don't want to eat crumbs right now. I'll wait till the show starts and then I'll eat crumbs. What's in here? What is this? What's in here? There's nothing in there. What was this? Oh, that's the blueberry. There's nothing in there though. I used up all those seeds. I used them all up. Let's see. 420. Yes, it is 420. It's actually pretty warm in this room today. Feels warmer in here today than it did yesterday. I'm not sure why. Might be the shirt I'm wearing or something. Boy, I could really use some weed, baby. Some weed, baby. All right, so we should do that now. And let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and heat up the bong while I play this little video for you about Donald Rumsfeld dying, so that we can all understand that Donald Rumsfeld is fucking dead. And I got this clip in particular because I think it shows a lot of the evil that Donald Trump did. Maybe I should wait. Maybe I should wait to do that clip. What do you think? Should we play that clip? Can you guys see the telephone number on the bottom of the screen? This is a call-in show in case you'd like to talk about Bill Cosby, Donald Rumsfeld, the building collapse in Miami. Do you think there's something nefarious going on there? Apparently, Kennedy thinks there might be something going on nefarious. I'm going to go ahead and play the Kennedy clip. And then I'll come back and we'll heat up the bong and we'll take a big fat bong rip, okay? So I'm going to play the Kennedy clip and I will be back momentarily.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious, something far more nefarious. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm had a pretty callous take on the Florida building collapse when she was asked whether climate change could be involved in the tragedy. Well, she said this.
We'll have to wait to see what the analysis is for this building, but the issue about resiliency and making sure we adapt to this changing climate, that's going to mean levees need to be built. That means seawalls need to be built. That means infrastructure needs to be built. There's so much investment that we need to do to protect ourselves from climate change, but also to address it and mitigate it. And hopefully these infrastructure bills, when taken together, will make a huge step and allow America to lead again.
Jesus Christmas, lady. There are still more than 140 people unaccounted for. Their bodies are trapped and twisted under that mess of crumbled concrete and rusted steel as their loved ones pray they might be rescued. And you're making the case about infrastructure spending and climate change? What the hell is wrong with you? Did you skip sensitivity training at your heartless politician boot camp? We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Whatever happened, it's not due to the sweeping and irreversible effects of climate change, or all of Florida would have to be evacuated. Climate change has become the most convenient demon, and every crisis can be miraculously explained away. Immigration? That's climate change. Antifa? Displaced because of climate change. Hand, foot, and mouth disease, and sharks, and the sagging crypto market. Climate change, and especially climate change. I'm over these lazy slogans and prescriptions that are used for political gain to spend money and gain more control. Why not use your powerful position and plentiful resources to get a few hundred more disaster relief workers to South Florida so these families will at least have the comfort knowing the government has done everything in its power to save those precious souls? Because the government would rather use a tragedy to acquire more power, selling unfounded climate conspiracies, than actually saving lives. And that's the memo. Earlier today, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis lashed out at the Energy Secretary for her climate change theory. Ron?
I don't think there's any evidence of that. I mean, what we want, Martha, is we want the truth about what happened so that we know if it has implications for other properties in Florida and if there needs to be anything to remedy it on the state level or local level. But what we're not going to do is use this to try to advance any pre-existing agenda. There's no agenda here. We want the facts. We want the truth.
Damn right we want the facts. So was she better off just keeping her mouth shut until there are more facts on the table? The man panel is back. Chris Wilson, Dave Smith, and Kevin Walling. So Kevin, I want you to respond to that because, you know, she didn't just make a minor misstep. That was like 15 paragraphs of her going on and on and on about why we need infrastructure spending when people still have no idea what has become of their lost relatives.
Yeah, Kennedy, it's horribly tragic. And I'm the Democrat on your panel. It was not a good idea to speak about climate change in the same sentence of talking about this building collapse when we don't know the answers. Now, Secretary Granholm said it's too early to tell what were the root causes of this, and we're seemingly piecing more and more together. We saw information from an engineer study from 2018 showing massive issues with the infrastructure of that particular building. You talked about rebar, you talked about concrete in your opening, Kennedy. But again, I think it was a mistake to, in the same sentence, talk about climate change, despite the effects that we're seeing across the board in this country, but actually show some heart for the victims, focus there, and then make the case for your infrastructure bill.
Yes, and Dave, it's become so easy to make climate change the umbrella cause of everything. But the problem is when you do that over and over and over again, people stop listening to you. So they stop taking the issue seriously. What other issues can we blame for a string of tragedies?
Yeah, I'm just gonna start playing their game. I think that the Federal Reserve's easy money policy is what's to blame for this. I blame it on government regulation and the war on drugs and the COVID lockdowns. Everything I'm against is the reason why this building collapsed. It's really, as you said, people stop paying attention. But what's interesting about this moment is that it's very revealing about a mindset. And a mindset where you kind of have your policy agenda and you view human beings as pawns on a chessboard. And if this tragedy can be exploited to help launch your agenda, well then great. Yeah, let's use that. It's politics at its most disgusting.
It is disgusting, and I hope Rahm Emanuel is embarrassed that he said never let a good tragedy go to waste. It's so gross because people feel justified in jumping on something horrible before we have all the facts and making these claims. So what do you see here, Chris?
Well, I think it's amazing that we made it almost a week without someone trying to find a way to politicize this. But now that we have it, and Granholm probably spent several days trying to figure out how it could have been caused by systematic racism or white privilege could have knocked the building down. But we settle on our second favorite explanation for everything in climate change. And as you said, the left is excellent at taking Rahm Emanuel's famous "never let a crisis go to waste" maxim at heart, even if there's no way to actually justify the linkage to climate change or anything else that they're constantly blaming things for. I could walk out my house later, roll my ankle on a rock, and some leftist commentator would run up and tell me it was because of climate change. It's too much. And as said, this is why people don't take left seriously when they make these kind of accusations anymore.
Yes, and when you say we only have 10 years to live, then people they stop listening because they think you're making stuff up. And when you're making stuff up and you're not taking a life and death crisis, the likes of which we don't see in this country, then shame on you. Now, meantime, we still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud.
All right, enough with the dun 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 dun. But we do need a bong hit, don't we? Who's ready for a bong hit? I am. Almost ready. Almost ready. Almost ready. So what do you think she's talking about when she says something more nefarious that no one's talking about? Hello, caller.
Hey, Mark.
What's happening?
Hey, Bucks.
What's happening?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what the fuck do you want?
Oh, no. I was gonna say, hi, Mark. How's your weekend? How's everything going?
Fucking hot.
Yeah, I know. I'm still inside on the air conditioning. I don't wanna. In fact, I'm working more now than usual because everything's so hot outside. It's like 100. Hold on, what is it right now? 105 on the Tri-Cities. Oh, Eastern Washington right now.
Okay.
So I heard the news about Rumsfeld, man. Kind of like the end of an era. We're still waiting for, we used to be the guys who used to be the Secretary of State and Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney looks like a fucking vampire. He never died.
Trust me, he's gonna die.
Well, he will, though, but I don't know, man. I feel like he's gonna be the very last one to die.
Was that?
I'm surprised he overpassed George W. Bush.
Yeah, well, I look forward to all of them dying as soon as possible.
I never wish anybody's dead, though. But I do hope that one day they face judgment.
I didn't wish them dead. I said, I hope they all die as soon as possible. It's not really wishing they die.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever, man. Go ahead.
yeah. I mean, I don't have that wish for them.
You don't what now?
I just wish that one day. I just wish that one day they. I don't know. They face judgment and they repent of their mistakes, because their mistakes really cost a lot of millions of lives. Like literally millions of lives.
In order to repent, man, you have to admit that what you did was a mistake. Not just a mistake, that it was wrong. And they're never going to admit that anything they ever did was wrong.
No, because they're zealots. They're newcomers. They're zealots. They think what they're doing, they were doing it for the greater good.
At least that's the people who they talk to. That's what they got them believing.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney, they wanted to go into Iraq ever since George Bush's father. So I don't think it's just, was it Rumsfeld or Dick Cheney? Like right after 9/11 happened, like within minutes or hours, they gave the suggestion to George W. Bush to invade Iraq. Within hours of 9/11.
Yeah, I mean, Dick Cheney was definitely in charge of the "we got to invade Iraq" crew, so probably him.
Yeah. So they're not a victim of misinformation. I know they knew what they're doing though. I don't know why, what was their agenda, if it wasn't because they want the oil or because they really want to corner Iran. I don't know what was their true agenda, man, but their actions and their consequences, we're still paying for it. And a lot of people lost their lives, innocent people, in both sides of the conflict. Unfortunately, people got brainwashed. And I mean, I don't wish them dead, man, but at the same time, I feel like these people need to face judgment. And it could be any type of judgment.
Yeah, man.
Judgment on earth.
Yeah, look, Manny, I say again and again and again, these people have to go to prison for the rest of their lives. Okay? That's all there is to it. That's the judgment that they deserve. That's what the people of this great country should be making happen in order to show the rest of the world that we're not with these fucking scumbags, instead of just letting them walk off into the sunset scot-free.
Yeah, I agree, Bob. I agree. Unfortunately, because they were like very high-profile politicians, they're going to get the free pass or the immunity. And nobody will see the day of justice, at least in this earth. But I do believe in the divine justice, and at least from my place, I hope there's divine justice and they get the proper judgment, whether it's in a spiritual manner or whether it's on air or whatever it's in hell. I don't know much. Yeah. I just hope that, I mean, they repent and they came into conclusion that what they did was wrong.
They can't repent, Manny.
The consequences.
Look, you can repent. You can repent up to a certain point, and then there's no repenting, Manny. Okay, you can't kill a million. You can't kill a million innocent people, knowing damn well that's what you're gonna do, in order to make money off of it, and then say, "Oh, I repent." It's not gonna happen, dude. They don't have that ability.
And I agree with you, Mark. I mean, at a certain point, what was this quote that I read years ago? That killing a people is horrible, but killing a million people is a statistic. So I truly believe that that's what they saw. They saw it as just a big number. And they're completely detached from reality. And I mean, whether or not you agree what happened on 9/11, I think 9/11 was the domino that not at all.
Okay, did you hear what I said at the beginning of this program, Manny? Okay, the day before 9/11, on September 10th, 2001, Donald Rumsfeld stepped up to the podium at the Pentagon and announced that the Pentagon had misplaced $4 trillion with a T, Manny. The day, September 10th, 2001. On September 11th, 2001, something happened that made everyone forget about the $4 trillion that gone missing out of the Pentagon. Okay, you think that's a coincidence?
No, that's not a coincidence.
No, it's not, is it?
There's a lot of weird there's a lot of weird things going on, Mark. A lot of interesting coincidences that is never going to be answered at this point. It's been 20 years, Mark. I was 14 when the whole 9/11 thing happened. I saw the people on Univision. When I was watching Univision, when they actually show the jumping, like the people jumping out of their window. I know, like, nobody of the network showed it, but they were like Univision was showing that, like the jumpers, and I was like, damn.
Mm. Look, it's so, and it would be really nice to know, or important to know, or mandatory to know, who actually pulled off that job, Manny. Who were all the players involved, right? Not just some fucking stool pigeons.
Unfortunately, like, almost all of the direct responsible people are dead. They died on the 9/11 attacks.
Yeah, that's not right.
There's only one person who is in Guantanamo right now.
Yeah, Manny, look, you think that people who've never flown before can fly a 747 jet or 757 or whatever the fuck it was jet into a pinpoint spot. They've never flown before, and they have this giant fucking jet that's got all kinds of buttons and dials and switches, and they're just going to fly that right exactly where they want to fly it. Is that right, Manny?
Hold on. I mean, you want to argue facts, though. I know by a fact that these guys, the 9/11 hijackers, they actually went to flying school in Florida, and they were not just flying Cessna. They were actually using simulators, like airplane simulators as well.
Yeah, so simulators,
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
have you ever used a simulator? Have you ever used a simulator? I've used a simulator many times. Many times. Do you think I could get into a
Microsoft flying simulator? I'm talking about like an actual full simulator, like a full cabin simulator, and that's what they did at the flying school in Florida. I mean, there's a lot of weird things going on, and they actually learn how to fly a Cessna, though, but there's a big difference between a Cessna and a 747 or a 737. A huge black and white difference.
Really?
But they didn't actually flow from start. They just managed the basic, what's it called? Freaking turn wheel.
Turn wheel.
It's very complicated.
Yeah, that's what they did.
So you really believe the weird conspiracy that there was a remote control airplane hitting the World Trade Center type of thing?
And you don't think that 19 hijackers that never flew before is a weird conspiracy, is that right?
They flew before, Mark.
There's
documentation that these guys were flying to Florida. They learned how to fly a Cessna type of airplane, and at the same time they were actually learning how to fly like a 747, like one of those big Boeing airplanes, using a simulator.
Okay. I'm glad you got it figured out, Manny.
Well, it's a lot of questions. It's not going to be answered. And even if they do a 40 or 70 years later, I mean, we still don't know about the UFOs after 1947. And it's going to take, I don't think we're never going to hear the whole truth about 9/11 as well.
Okay, I thought you said the official story is the truth.
That's what I'm saying, the official story. But there's more into the story as well that we still don't know.
Okay. All right, Manny, it's good to hear from you, man. I'm glad you're being able to beat this heat, dude.
Nice to hear from you, Max, and stay cool, man. Stay cool.
I always do.
Hot outside right now.
I always do. Don't worry.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, talk to you soon, I hope.
Bye-bye.
That's our buddy Manny over in Eastern Washington, still bearing the 100-degree heats, but they're pretty much used to it over there. Eastern Washington summer is going to hit 100 degrees for a few days, pretty much guaranteed. Seattle, it doesn't happen. It actually cooled down a little bit last night. It was so nice. I mean, I got up at 8:30 this morning and we went for a walk, and I wore a t-shirt and shorts, and it was just this nice like marine layer of overcast, and we got to walk for 2 hours, which we haven't done for like 4 or 5 days because of the heat, which sucks. Because you got to get out there, man. You got to get your vertical. You got to get your up vertical. You got to get your down vertical. You got to get your double time, double time, double time. You know what I'm saying? My Boo Bear does. That's what really matters. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed that bong hit that Manny so rudely interrupted. Because I actually enjoyed it a lot. I'm feeling so much better now. Let's see, where were we? Should we play another video? Should we? Huh? I can do it. Don't make me go there, people. I really like the Kennedy thing about, other nefarious... well, what did she say here now? Just a sec. Let me see what she said. Let me listen to her again. She said... What do we got here? What is this? What is this now? She said... Let's listen to what she said.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know.
Right. We still don't know. Or if it was something far more nefarious that no one is willing to talk about. She's awesome. And I think that this is an important question. What is she talking about? Far more nefarious. Okay, I want to hear all the conspiracy theories. Far more nefarious that no one's talking about. I love her. Although, this conservative moron that she plays on TV, I guess a girl's got to make a buck, right? It's just so sad that you have to whore yourself out to fucking fake conservatives. You can do better, Kennedy, and you deserve better. But I'm glad you got what you got, because it seems like a pretty cool gig, and you're a big part of it, as opposed to just sitting there and them telling you what to do. I love it when she struts around. Okay, so what is she talking about? The telephone number is right there on the screen. I have a caller. I have an operator standing by, and what is Kennedy talking about when she says far more nefarious? Hello, caller.
Hey, man, that last caller was completely correct on the 911 situation. I was really amazed at his wisdom and his expertise on all the details. See, what happened was those Arab terrorists, they flew right into they knew where the computer rooms were for certain trading companies, and they flew right into the trading company and damaged all the computers, and then all the jet fuel went down the elevator shafts all the way to the basement, and it was, the firefighters were slow, and Osama bin Laden was on his computer in that cave in Afghanistan directing the whole thing. And
Saddam, and don't leave Saddam out.
Yeah, and Donald Rumsfeld, he just lost a little bit of money, man. It's no big deal.
It's only $4 trillion. Come on.
I think it was 2.3, Mike.
Whatever. Don't correct me.
Okay, I'll correct you, man.
I didn't shout at you.
For, what was it, 12 weeks, 3 months, they were still digging out molten metal, 2,800 degrees from underneath the rubble. That had water on it every day, 2,800 degrees. And office fires, which is what those were burn at about 1,500 degrees. So where did all, and you had waterfalls full of molten metal coming out of the goddamn building. So it's just a normal situation, nothing to see here. It was the Arab terrorists, man, and you know, the elevators. There isn't even one single elevator that goes all the way up. You have to get off the elevator a third of the way up, get on another elevator 2/3 of the way up, and get on another elevator to go all the way up. There's no elevators that go from the bottom to the top of the World Trade Centers. So I got people give me that bullshit story about, oh yeah, it was a fucking jet fuel went down the elevator shafts, man. And all you got to do is go onto YouTube and see a video about how they built the World Trade Center, floor by floor.
Yeah.
Awesome fucking construction.
Yeah. There's a documentary about a tightrope walker. Have you seen that? That strung a tightrope between the two towers while they were being constructed.
No, I've never seen it.
Yeah, you should look it up. It's a great movie. I don't know what the title is. I'll look it up in a sec.
But I do know that in New York in the 40s and 50s, Apaches were some of the real Apaches were some of the best steel workers because they would just walk way the fuck out onto steel beams with no safety harness, no, you know, and they were just fearless, and they made a lot of money. Apaches, so they hired this one Apache tribe, and they just worked and worked and worked. But no, man, Manny doesn't know shit. It's like listening to that guy talk is like listening to my Christian neighbor talk about how I'm going to be saved if I just go to church, and the American government can't do anything wrong, and I'm a conspiracy theorist, and oh, I know so much, and yeah, blah, blah. My neighbors are so full of shit, I don't even talk to them anymore. It's like, you know, I just avoid certain subjects. And I literally had a guy tell me, you know, the jet fuel went all the way down the elevator shafts to the basement, and then I showed him a diagram of the elevators on the World Trade Center, and you got 3 different elevators. So it's you know, I'm glad. And this guy Donald Rumsfeld, man, this, you know, and neocon, you should call them neodemons, I think, because.
Just leave the neo part out.
Yeah,
They're either cons or they're demons. I'm good with either one.
Cons, you know, but there's nothing wrong with being a conservative, and there's nothing wrong with being a liberal. So
Yes, there is. It's bullshit. Both sides are complete and utter bullshit.
And I'm really liberal on other issues, so I just go issue by issue, and I don't join cults like Democrats and Republicans. You're freezing up there, man. I don't know if that's... oh, you're cool. That's okay. So, you know, I'm not into identity politics at all. But Donald Rumsfeld and his ilk and those Washington insiders, they didn't do America any favors. They don't care about humanity. They think they know. And I'm glad the motherfucker's dead. And I hope George Bush dies soon, and Clinton, and Obama. Obama's almost the worst of them all. And I don't care what kind of happy face you put on it.
Why is Obama the worst of them all?
Because he didn't do shit. He started brand new wars. He tore the entire Middle East apart.
Yeah.
And he created a refugee crisis.
Yeah, well, let me explain why Obama is the worst of them all. Obama is the worst of them all because all the people in the United States, people who never voted for a Democrat, came out to vote for Obama because he was going to end all the shit. And he was going to be the change they needed. And it wasn't about just the Americans that came out. Everybody, people around the world, million people showed up in Paris to see Obama speak. 1 million people. So when Obama won, he had a mandate not only from the United States, again, conservatives that had never voted for a Democrat their whole life voted for Obama. Okay, so he had a mandate not only from the people of the United States, but from the whole world. And why?
Yeah.
Because they were desperate to get away from these fucking pieces of shit, George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. Okay, so he could have stepped up and said, that's it, we're pulling all the troops home, or any other thing that made the war stop now. And instead, he just continued the war, and as Mike said, started more wars and expanded into Syria. And he's a horrible fucking piece of shit who could have changed everything for the better after two other horrible pieces of shit led us into being the most murdering, bloodthirsty fucking war profiteering cunts on the fucking planet. That's who we are, people. You better get used to it or stand the fuck up!
And it's not the American people reaping the benefits of these satanic foreign wars. It is the big money men, the corporations, and they're making the money. The weapons manufacturers, the oil companies, lithium, minerals, you name it. Those companies are lobbying and buying off all these entrenched satanic politicians, and Donald Rumsfeld is just like one of 12 eggs in an egg carton. They're all the same, and they all should go to hell. I hope they all burn, because they have sinned. They have committed crimes against planet Earth, against the ecosystem, against humanity, against foreign nations. They're traitors to the Constitution. You're right. They should all be tried and thrown into jail, all their assets seized, and we need to look back. We need to look back and widespread document all the crimes these dumb fucks have committed, and now they've impoverished. They've sucked what, $2.8 trillion out of the middle class in America, and they've enriched the super class by the same amount. So, and the homelessness hasn't hit yet. All the effects of the COVID-19 hasn't hit yet. I mean, we got suicides, we got dead people, we got people with no jobs, we got homelessness, but not like we're going to have. And in order to put that off and kick the can down the road, they're just going to print more money and print more money. And people like Pelosi and Rumsfeld and Bush and Obama, they are against planet Earth. And
they're against humanity and all the living creatures on planet Earth. Yes, they are.
Yeah, we need to get back to nature, buddy. You know, I care about the orcas too, even though I wouldn't want to be near one in the water. I'm afraid of orcas. I've been...
Why? I don't know. Do you have problems, like, have you had problems with cougars or raccoons, or what is it that in nature has made you filled with fear?
It's just when I'm in deep water snorkeling and I can't see what's going on around me.
Water can be a little scary.
Yeah, I'm just better on land than I am in water. Even sometimes when I'm in a kayak out in the ocean, I can get a little spooked, you know.
Yeah.
But fuck, other than Sasquatch, I'm not afraid of that. Well, I shouldn't say that. I ran away from a bear one time, but the bear was so pissed that where was I? He did it, Sequoia. I think I was in Sequoia, and the bear was shaking this fucking tree like, "You're in my fucking territory, man!" And me and my girlfriend, we just ran up the hill. And so I'm not really afraid of land creatures. It's just when you're in the water and your legs are hanging down and you saw Jaws as a little boy, it's like, you get this little thought, but so, yeah, man, I wouldn't want to be near a fucking orca.
Orcas are awesome, dude. I remember when I saw Jaws, I can't remember how old I was, but I was at this theater, and it was like a really old theater, right? Like the back, 7 or 8 rows of the theater, the chairs were all like high back leather chairs, right? So like they came up above your head, and they didn't lean back or anything, but they were pretty comfortable. So I was sitting in one of those chairs, and there was a couple rows of them in front of me, and I'm watching this, and I got my legs up against the chair, you know, like it's like this, kind of like that, so my knees are kind of in my face, and the person I remember the scene where the head pops out of the hole in the sunken boat, you know, and just like it. The person in front of me jumped out of their fucking skin and pushed the chair back, and my knee hit me right in the face. You're like, what? What just happened?
Yeah, you know, it's not my territory. You know, I'm not a water creature. I got 2 feet, and I walk the land, and I can climb a tree. I can shoot a bow. I can shoot a gun.
Killer Mike's afraid of guppies. Killer Mike's afraid of guppies.
Big fucking guppies, man, with these nasty little smiles. They're all black and white, like, I'm evil, I'm good, I'm good, I'm evil. You can't figure them out, man. They're like, we're going to need a bigger boat.
Orcas are nothing to be afraid of. Really, there's very little in nature. I don't like mosquitoes. You know, I hate mosquitoes. I gotta say it, I hate mosquitoes.
What about bees?
Oh, bees are beautiful.
Yeah, bees are awesome, man. Bees are so peaceful. They mind their own business. They just go around licking beautiful stuff out of flowers, and they land on the marijuana leaves, and they just get all fucking stoned and full of goop, you know, and they're all goopy, and they're going, la, 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 I love marijuana. Bees are excellent.
Yeah.
And farmers know year to year how the bee population is doing, and this year it's worse than ever. I have hardly seen one single bee where I'm at. So,
I only seen mostly bumblebees so far. I see a couple other little bees, but not a lot of them. Craig's ex said she just had a giant hive of bees pulled out of her backyard. So,
why did she pull it out? Were they going crazy?
yeah, they just moved into the backyard and they couldn't get settled. So she had to call somebody to take care of it. They moved the bees to somebody else who had a hive already set up. So seemed like a good thing.
Yeah. They were. I've had that happen on my property too. And the queen just gets a wild hair up her ass and goes traveling, and then all the bees follow the queen, and then they land in your tree and they go crazy. Where do we live? Where do we live? And, you know, it's like fucking. No, bees are cool. I love nature. I'm afraid I'm a little bit prejudiced about rats and mice because I've got 8 miles of fields around my house, and it's a constant war, you know. They got no respect, Michael. No respect.
I watched Rodney Dangerfield this week, and I watched Rodney on what's that movie? Back to School. I watched that movie with Rodney Dangerfield. It's a pretty lame movie, but he's a funny guy.
Yeah, but you know, I would have liked Rodney Dangerfield to president over George Bush or this dumb fuck we got now, or Donald Rumsfeld. Let's let Rodney Dangerfield handle the fucking Pentagon. No respect.
That would have been awesome, dude. Fuck the Pentagon. Let him handle it all, like you said. Just put him in charge, and you know, whatever happens, you know, it couldn't have been worse than what George W. Bush and Rumsfeld did. Okay, it couldn't have been worse than what Obama and Biden did. And how the fuck did Biden get back in the White House? You know, people, number one, they don't vote for vice presidents, okay? They don't do it. Otherwise, Al Gore would have beat George W. Bush hands down, because George W. Bush is a fucking idiot. And anybody with half a brain could smack him around. So, you know, they don't vote for vice presidents. So, this is all a load of shit that we're seeing here, people.
Well, we don't have a lot of choices. They say presidents are selected and not elected, and I agree with that. I mean, how come we got the same parade of dick fucks and criminals every 4 years? Oh, let's vote for this criminal. Let's vote for that criminal. This criminal's better than that criminal. That criminal just said something amazing, like Trump. You know, you'd be in jail if I was president. I mean, Trump blew me away. His mouth was so awesome. I voted for the guy. You know.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I understand. I mean, that's that you should be in jail thing, or you would be in jail. Either way, he said them both. Is something that we haven't heard. Obama should have been saying that shit, and then we wouldn't be in this fucking mess anymore.
Obama was primed, educated, groomed, and selected by the Jewish Chicago Mafia, and he was the golden boy. Well, let's get this guy in here, and what kind of slogan can we give? Hope and change. Yeah, hope and change. That's what the peons want. They want hope and they want change. We'll give them all our pennies. They can have change. And then, of course, he blew away Libya. Blew away Libya. What a crime that was. The most prosperous African country, Libya. Gas was 14 cents a gallon. You get married, you get $50,000. You can get free loans from the government to start a business. And the weird guy that lives in a tent because he wants everyone to have a house in Libya. The largest water system in Africa ever. They even destroyed that. And oil, everything was, they didn't have an international Rothschild bank, and the oil was owned by the people, not by Exxon and Texaco and all these British Petroleum. It was owned by the Libyan people.
Yeah.
So we gotta kill that guy because he's dangerous.
We don't want other people thinking they can rule that way.
Yeah, and he looks funny too. So let's just bomb him, And if he was a good speaker, like he spoke good English and he didn't wear funny African clothing, he might have been able to get his message out. But he was a good man, and as far as I'm concerned, Muammar Gaddafi was a martyr. And when I think about him and what he did for his country and the way he died, the way he was murdered, it makes me want to cry, man. And I don't know any Libyans. I just know crime. And that was a crime.
Yeah.
And then we destroyed his whole country. So this is what I hate the most, is when they demonize the victim and they normalize criminal satanic activity. That's what I hate the most.
You remember his... yeah?
I'll let you go, my guy.
You remember his Secret Service detail?
Yeah, all women, and he wasn't fucking them either. They were.
You don't want to be fucking your Secret Service detail.
No, but that was one of the myths they made up about. Like, it's all women. He's got a harem.
Oh, I'm sure he had a harem, but it wasn't them.
Yeah, well, they were. He was a religious leader, really, and Occupy Wall Street got their direct democracy tactics, which we used against the police and the American government and to educate Occupy Wall Street. We got it directly from the book he wrote called The Green Book. And that's the system they used to have in Libya, was a tribal system. You go from the small tribe and you make a consensus, then you go to the bigger tribe, you stay there and hammer it out there and you make a consensus, then you go to a county level and then a national level, and it's direct democracy, and it seemed to work in Libya, and we tried it, and it's a shame what they did to Gaddafi, and it's a shame what they did to Cuba, and it's a shame what they did to Venezuela, and so many South American.
It's a shame what they did to America.
Yeah, to us.
Yeah.
We are America.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you go, Mike.
All right, I'm gonna play Rumsfeld next. Thanks for calling. Talk to you later.
Take care.
All right, so this is the video about Donald Rumsfeld dying, and I think I picked this one out. I saw little clips here, little clips there, but I picked this one out because I think it showed a lot of who Donald Rumsfeld was, a lot of the work that he did, the meeting that he had with Saddam to give them chemical weapons, to give Saddam chemical weapons, which they then used on Iran, killing hundreds of thousands of people, I believe, and then they attack Iraq on the basis that they have chemical weapons. They do. We gave them to them. We know they have them. So this is who Donald Rumsfeld is, while he burns for all eternity. And let's all get on the same page about who Donald Rumsfeld was. So I thought this video was the best one that I saw today, so I'll play it for you now. Be right back.
Now, the former U.S. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld, the architect of the U.S.-led invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan, has died at the age of 88. He was both the youngest defense secretary ever in 1975 and the oldest when he returned to the job in 2001. Mr. Rumsfeld was inside the Pentagon when it was attacked on 9/11. Sarah Campbell reports.
Donald Rumsfeld served 4 presidents over 5 decades. Charismatic and outspoken, he was a key architect of America's response to 9/11, the invasion of Afghanistan, and the war against Iraq. A Navy pilot in the 1950s, Rumsfeld later became an Illinois congressman. Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger admired his ruthlessness and gave him a job in cabinet.
A strong defense posture gives weight to our values and our views in international negotiation.
In 1975, Gerald Ford made him defense secretary, the youngest ever. Ronald Reagan sent him to the Middle East, where he met Saddam Hussein, the leader he would one day help to overthrow.
I'm submitting the name of Donald Rumsfeld to be Secretary of Defense.
Nearly 20 years later, George W. Bush reappointed him defense secretary. Within months, America came under attack. Rumsfeld was in his Pentagon office on September the 11th, 2001, when an airliner hit the building. He helped move the injured and then planned a way to strike back. Rumsfeld believed the Iraq War would be over in months and the invasion would be vindicated. But the fierce insurrection that followed claimed thousands of lives. When no weapons of mass destruction were found, Rumsfeld struggled to explain why.
There are known knowns. There are things we know that we know. There are known unknowns. That is to say, there are things that we now know we don't know. But there are also unknown unknowns. There are things we do not know we don't know.
He was prepared to push boundaries, including with the treatment of suspected terrorists. But when these photographs of the brutalization of Iraqi prisoners appeared, there was a backlash.
These events occurred on my watch. I am accountable for them, and I take full responsibility.
But the scandal damaged him. And with his Iraq strategy increasingly questioned, he resigned in 2006. Donald Rumsfeld reshaped the US military and worked to apply its power overseas. He was a man never short of critics, but steadfast in his belief that he acted in America's best interests.
Remembering Donald Rumsfeld, who has died at the age of 88.
All right, so I love that woman. Oh my God, her voice makes me crazy, and she is so fucking hot. Laura Trevelyan. She would be right up near the top of my list for who I would most like to have dinner with. Hi, Jackie Cat. You're at the top of my list. I love Laura Trevelyan. So that being said, again, Donald Rumsfeld, I really like that particular clip. I think it shows who Donald Rumsfeld was and what kind of evil he did on the world. I mean, it went by fast. They could probably talk about the evil doings of Donald Rumsfeld for days. But at least they talked about it a little bit. The other clips that I saw about Rumsfeld today was just like, oh, Donald Rumsfeld, former, Secretary of Defense, blah, 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 died at 88. This one they went into a little bit of detail about his evil, evil ways, his horrible. You know, there's a reason that I say these things about, you know, in hell. It's not so much that I believe in hell. If there is a hell, it's probably more like a karma thing, you know, where you're just trapped in this never-ending cycle because you refuse to grow and be a better human being. That would be probably the definition of hell, you know, because that way, however horrible you are, and there's karma, then maybe you have to go back and redo things from when you were a cockroach, because it sure seemed like way more like a cockroach now than when you evolve to the next level of not being a cockroach. So you should go back to there. And that would be, even though you wouldn't remember it necessarily, but because Buddha remembered all of his former lives. So when I say necessarily, that's why I say it. At the same time, Donald Rumsfeld is no Buddha. So I'm glad we got to play that clip as opposed to these little things. So, oh, Donald Rumsfeld died and he was a great man and we're all going to miss him. Fuck Donald Rumsfeld. Okay? Fuck all the people that work with Donald Rumsfeld. I'm not talking about the soldiers. Talking about, you know, the line, the motherfucking upper echelon of our government. Okay? The government is pure evil. There is no more better example of that pure evil of our government than Donald Rumsfeld. Okay? That is, if you look at Donald Rumsfeld and what he did, that is who our government is, and probably way worse. And it's got to stop. I don't know. Do you guys look at it like, you know, well, I'm not going to live that much longer, so I'm not going to worry about it. Is that the way you look at it? Because that's the way that I'm getting through to the end. It's like, well, if it doesn't change, it doesn't change. I'm not going to be under this tyranny for a whole lot longer. So, at the same time, you know, lots of people have legacies that they're leaving behind. Unlike my legacy that will live on forever. Others have much more important legacies, at least to themselves. So I would be more concerned if I had that kind of legacy, you know, to worry about. So where are we going now? What shall we use to fill the empty spaces where we used to talk? How shall I? Well, we can always play another video, I suppose. Let's see. Here is a video about German troops leaving Afghanistan after 20 fucking years. The last soldiers made it home to Germany today. I believe it's today. Might have been yesterday. But I thought it was a good thing. And that you all might enjoy hearing about it. I know I enjoyed hearing about it.
Their peacekeeping mission lasted nearly 2 decades and cost the lives of 59 of their comrades and countless civilians. But now the last German troops serving in Afghanistan have arrived back home. Their return is part of a phased withdrawal of international forces. The Taliban terror group has already overrun much of the country, and Afghans left behind are afraid of what might happen next.
There was little in the way of fanfare as Germany's military mission in Afghanistan came to an end. But for families waiting for their loved ones to return, it was a day of joy and relief.
Ich hol meinen Mann ab.
I'm picking up my husband. He's been in Afghanistan since February and I've come to collect him.
Heute bin ich hier, um ihn abzuholen.
And how are you feeling?
Aufgeregt,
really
freudig.
excited and happy. After a nearly 20-year mission and 150,000 troops deployed, these are the last German soldiers to come home.
Mission accomplished. Sie haben Ihren
You have
Auftrag
fulfilled
erfüllt.
your assignment. The orderly redeployment of the German Resolute Support Mission contingent has been successfully completed. But as European troops quietly return and the US prepares to complete its withdrawal, the situation they've left in Afghanistan remains precarious.
The Germans were heavily involved in the north of the country, in cities like Kunduz and Mazar-e-Sharif and in other cities around the north. And if you look at it, those are the cities that are really in danger right now. And those are among the cities where local people are arming themselves to fight back against the Taliban. In the case of the Germans, you know, it's another question of another country leaving and what did they really accomplish? If 20 years later, these cities that they were supposed to be in charge of feel so unsafe and the people either have to flee or take up arms for themselves, it begs the question of, well, what did they really end up doing? How much did they really change for the average person?
During the 20-year NATO military operation, there have been some gains in education, women's rights and infrastructure. But corruption and violence remain as huge obstacles. Already controlling large parts of the country, the Taliban have begun retaking provinces as foreign troops leave. The fear now is that any gains made during the last 2 decades are already being lost.
I like that music. I don't want to make it stop. I'm like, and that's the whole thing about war, about it going on forever. You know, World War II, the United States was involved in World War II, and it took, 4 years, is that right? From 1941 to 1945, does that sound right? 4 years to win a world war with multiple giant armies in multiple different countries fighting battles everywhere. And then the U.S. had to go and stick its fucking nose in there. Nobody's attacking us. Nobody's attacking Canada. Nobody's attacking Mexico. We should be like, all right, we're good. Let those people sort their shit out. But no, we gotta. And you know what? The people of the United States did not want to go to war in World War II. That's why the United States didn't join World War II until 1941, because the people didn't want it. And then lo and behold, a massive terrorist attack on our shores forces our hand to go into battle against these evildoers. You all have to get behind us, get behind our military, and help us bring a better tomorrow to the whole world. Is that right? The United States people did not want to take part in World War II. They drugged their feet. They said, hell no, hell no, hell no. And then there was this major attack in which forced the U.S. hand, and they had to go to war. Sound familiar? And but that war, World War II, being again spread out all over the world, giant armies, you know, backed by giant countries with lots of money. That war was the United States was in and out of in 4 years. And fighting people in mud huts, in caves and mud huts. This is George Bush's words. Caves and mud huts. Fighting people in caves and mud huts. World War II lasting 4 years. Afghanistan lasting 20 years. There's nothing in Afghanistan, right? It's not like, you know, there's nothing there. I mean, there's these rare earth minerals, and there's opium, and there's what's those batteries? Lithium, right? There's lithium there, and we want that shit, but there's like nothing there for us to be like, oh, we have to fix it. There's fucking concentration camps, and they just keep setting up more. That wasn't happening. You know, I mean, for me, the most heartbreaking thing about Afghanistan was when the Taliban blew up the giant Buddhas. You know, there was no need for that. That was this historical artifact. No, I mean, it's not a religious thing for me so much as a historical artifact that can't be replaced. And so when that happened, it was really heartbreaking for me. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I'm fine.
Or maybe I should say, hey, Mike.
What's up, G?
No, like, hey, where's Fat Albert?
I don't know. It's not me.
No, man. Fat Albert walked today, Mike. He walked.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that wild?
I think there's a lot to break down there.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. It's
like 29 people who accused him of crime, and because he had some verbal agreement with a previous district attorney, that nullifies everything that happened at his trial and the accusations of all 28 other people, who basically all said more or less the same thing.
Which was
that they were drugged and had sex with him, you know, without their consent.
Put something, they didn't know that they were taking drugs?
Yeah, I think that's what it was, Mike.
Because from what I understand, he would invite women to his place and say, hey, you want some pills? And they go, yeah, let's have some pills. I don't know.
Well, you know what?
If that's not what happened.
If you're not like a rich television celebrity, right? And you get accused of something like this, you don't get off in like 3 years if you get like a 10 or a 20-year sentence, right?
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't think so.
And there was a trial as well. I mean, like, regardless of, you know, the court said, well, there shouldn't have been a trial. And but there was a trial, and in the course of that trial, the evidence came forward to indicate that he was guilty. Like, a jury determined that he was guilty, and a judge sentenced him based on the trial, right, on the merits of the trial. So essentially, he's getting off on a technicality, and the technicality that he's getting off on is all kind of specious as well. It's all kind of like fucking sketchy. It is. There's nothing in writing that this district attorney he had with him and Bill Cosby in writing that said, I'm not going to prosecute you for crimes if you talk with me, the detective or the district attorney, right? And that's what they based, apparently, the Supreme Court. 4 of the 7 justices in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court based their argument off of the fact that there was some agreement between Bill Cosby and the prosecutor that if he provided them with some information, he wouldn't be charged with a crime. Right?
Yeah.
That's essentially what happened. And that is like getting off on a technicality. That literally is what that is. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's irrelevant. He's just another fucking celebrity. I don't give a fuck what happens to that guy. I don't have any attachment or feelings to him. You know, he made some interesting art in the 1970s. I don't have any problems with that. He was an asshole in the 1980s when he played dad. You know, it's Black America, like, you know, kind of this false picture of what a perfect dad is.
Yeah.
So I don't really like the guy very much, but I find it odd that like celebrities get off like this, you know. And that they don't ever have to do the time. There's always some weird thing that comes up, you know. Let's see what happens with Ghislaine Maxwell, right? We haven't heard much about her lately.
Ghislaine Maxwell is far away, and you'll never hear from her again.
Yeah, she's going to be disappearing on a really slow boat to China or something after she walks out of a courthouse.
No, she has already disappeared, dude. Here's the deal. She was in this mansion in Connecticut and New Hampshire right? Somewhere over there in northern East Coast, and she was there for 18 months, right, before they went to arrest her, and or take her to jail or whatever. And the reason that I say that she's not, she's long gone, is because in 18 months you can have someone come in and do cosmetic surgery on them and make them look just, exactly like, whoever. I mean, as long as you start off with the right person. So there's no way she's going to take a rap on that, take a fall. There's no way.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if publicly she got off publicly on some kind of technicality very similar to the one that we saw with Cosby. Just some kind of crazy legal technicality that will enable her to just walk. And she won't have to get reconstructive face surgery or...
Not her, someone else. She has a double that does that.
Sure, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, either or. I mean, I'm just saying it's very possible she publicly will just be let out, right?
Yeah.
That the courts will just let her out. That there isn't going to be any, subterfuge or any kind of, like, espionage involved. Although, her and her partner, or her and her associate, Jeffrey Epstein, definitely were working with intelligence agencies, that's Mossad and the Central Intelligence Agency. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So, certainly there could be some shenanigans that will appear like shenanigans, but the safest thing for the elites to do is just to find some kind of legal technicality to let him off. The exact opposite of what's happening to Julian Assange right now in Britain, who is still in jail, even though, like, they said, 4 or 5 months ago that they aren't going to extradite him to the United States, and even though just in the last couple of weeks, the U.S. case against Assange has even, collapsed even more.
Yeah.
Because one of their witnesses, one of the prosecution's witnesses, said that they lied, and their character, he's from Iceland, his character has been undermined, just, saying basically publicly that he lied to the FBI about Julian Assange and some things that Julian Assange did when he was with WikiLeaks. And of course, none of this has anything to do with the reason why the U.S. government wanted Julian Assange to come to the U.S. in the first place, which was for the stuff that he did with Chelsea Manning, right? Showing the video footage of the war crimes that were committed in Iraq when the Reuters journalists were killed. Nevertheless, Julian Assange has never been accused, he's never been, been shown guilty, convicted of a crime in Great Britain.
Yeah.
He hasn't committed a crime. And he's been in jail for over 18 fucking months or something like this, right?
He's been in jail longer than that, yeah.
And they keep finding these legal technicalities.
He was in jail before. He was in jail before Trump became president.
Yeah, before Trump. He's been in jail. Well, he's been confined. He was confined in an embassy for years, and then he was arrested and put in Belmarsh prison, which is the same place that Britain houses terrorist suspects and mass murderers. It's like a maximum security prison, and for all intents and purposes, Julian Assange is not a thug who murders people, or he's not like a hitman for the mob or something. He's basically a computer geek, right? So why is he being held in a maximum security prison? You know what I'm saying? For basically violating some rule about, he missed, he was let out on bail, and then he missed his bail hearing or something like that, and they're using that as an excuse to hold him indefinitely in jail. The reason I bring this up is just to juxtapose this, right, with what happened to fucking Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby gets out of jail, sentenced, by a court. All of the 3 years he's out on a technicality. Julian Assange never convicted of a crime, hasn't really broken any rules, and the government of Britain says they're not going to extradite him to the United States. So why is the guy still in jail? Just like there's two different sets of rules, one for the rich and the celebrities, and the other for victims, people who don't like the state, and people who are critical of the state. Well, they have a totally different set of standards that are applied to them. They get to stay in prison for the rest of their lives. Another thing Don Rumsfeld did when he was Secretary of Defense is, and it was, I don't know if it was mentioned, but I read it earlier, it's Abu Ghraib. prison in Iraq. You remember that one?
Yes.
The torture that occurred there. There was a famous journalist. He's still alive. His name is Seymour Hersh. He wrote an expose in the New Yorker magazine that showed photographs of people like being held in the air, like looking like Christ, on a chair.
Yeah.
With electrical cables attached to their genitals.
Yeah, the last story.
German shepherds.
The last story.
German
Yeah, I
shepherds.
remember that. The last story that I just played showed those photos, and it's I forgot that had happened in Abu Ghraib though. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Abu Ghraib. So anyway, that was another reprehensible thing he did. Finally, between jobs, like between the Reagan administration and his gig with the second George Bush, he also worked for two pharmaceutical companies. One called Searle Pharmaceuticals, based in Skokie, and another company called Gilead Pharmaceuticals, based I think in New York State. So in addition to working for military contractors and working for, the Defense Department, for the generals, he also worked for like pharmaceutical companies, which in my mind, are pretty evil.
Yeah, it's really weird how they seem to be connected. But I guess evil, they see evil and they're like, this is perfect for us.
Yeah, he was also a pilot, apparently. He was a pilot in before the Vietnam War.
Lots of people are pilots.
There was one other story.
You're cutting out.
Unrelated.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Maybe I should just go. Really good to talk to you tonight, Mike.
Okay, you doing okay?
Yeah, everything's cool.
Okay.
All right,
It's nice to hear from you. Talk to you later.
Bye.
That's our buddy Chris from Olympia, and it's always good to hear from him. He's full of information. So I don't know what's going on with the bandwidth on the upload. It appears to have fixed itself. We have really good connection here, so it's highly unlikely that it's on our end. It's possible, but the way Craig's got it set up, we could be running 6 live streams, and I don't think it would be messing with our bandwidth one of these days. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and play another video because apparently we don't have any phone callers, and I want to catch everybody up to speed on, well, there again, I was really glad. The reason I picked that video about Donald Rumsfeld was because they showed a lot of this evil doings that I didn't see in the other news clips. So the Abu Ghraib stuff and the Saddam. So I was really glad to see that particular news clip when I found it. That being said, I have more. I'm going to play this real quick because I really like what Kennedy says here, and I'd really like somebody to expand on it more if you have some idea what she's saying when she says nefarious. I'm just going to play this for just like less than a minute.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more
nefarious and no one's acknowledging out loud. What do you think she's talking about there? I find it very interesting. I think that we should talk more about what it is she's suggesting. Something nefarious that no one's talking about out loud. Hello, caller.
Mike, how's it going, brother?
I'm fine.
Well, you're looking good. This is John Murdoch, reporting from the Mile High City once again.
Right on. How are you doing, John?
We are doing fabulous, man.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So are you able to burn up there in Denver?
Oh, of course.
That's awesome. What are you burning today?
Today I got some crystals here, man. Some live resin.
Oh, cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's not even dApps or donations.
I know. Yeah, no, I had this Choco Latina. It smells like fucking jet fuel, man. It's like, woo!
Sweet, right on.
Yeah, it
well,
is.
Hey, man, I wanted to jump on. Like I said, I was just kind of hanging out here, and your last caller kind of spurred some thoughts in me. Yeah, the Rumsfeld thing. I think, if this is correct, I heard it on the internet, so who knows. But I believe he worked for DuPont for many years.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
And maybe you guys talked about this, and apparently he was influential in soy. And for many years, I believe it was soybeans and stuff. They tried to, or basically DuPont used it in a lot of chemical applications like paint.
Yeah.
Obviously with DuPont. And they tried for years and years to try to get it introduced into the food system, and they wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't deem it safe for human consumption. But apparently Rumsfeld had enough influence and power that he was able to allow that, or, get the process going. And then soy, ever since, like in the 70s, it's in a bunch of the food and the salad dressings and stuff like that. And it's not good for humans. I don't know if you can speak to this or if you've heard of any of that.
No, but I love soy sauce. Soy sauce bad for you? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I don't think soy sauce is exactly the same thing. Possibly it is. But, I mean, hey, man, sewer rat may taste like pumpkin pie. Doesn't mean it's good for you.
So that soy is like, you mean like soybeans?
Yeah, soybeans. Yeah. I believe so.
That's what tofu. That's what tofu is made out of.
Right.
Yeah, and you're saying that's bad. You're
apparently
saying
it's
that's
not
bad
good.
for humans. Is that right?
That's what they say. I mean, like I said, man, you can look into it or people can look into it, but I believe I read that years ago. I mean, Donald Rumsfeld's been around for a long time. It's amazing how much these criminals get away with. But I believe that's one thing that you can chalk up to his epitaph.
I bet that list is just endless, man. It's so sad that these are the kind of people that represent all of us. I feel like I say again and again, we deserve better.
I feel like me and you deserve better. I'm not sure about some of these other people because, man, they're already doing the circle jerk like he was some great guy,
Oh, well, I'm not talking about... you mean like people that you know are saying shit like that? Because, I mean, I understand the people on the news. They have fucking Alberto Gonzalez on CNN like he's some kind of fucking authority. Oh, yeah, this and this and this. Talking about the insurrection on January 6th. Alberto Gonzalez. I'm sorry. Torture memo, Alberto Gonzalez. And how can you, knowing what these people did, how can you show them the slightest amount of respect, let alone, oh, here's an authority for our representing CNN? What the fuck are they thinking, Man,
they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel, I'd forgotten about these criminals. And we really shouldn't. We shouldn't forget about them. A lot of these young people, they've never even heard of this, of these people. They think that corruption started with Trump or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's just young people who haven't heard of, Donald Rumsfeld. There's so many evildoers. It's like you don't want to just put it on him. He's just an example of who our country is. I'm sorry, who our government is, and that government represents all of us. At least when it goes out in the world, that's what it's doing. Oh, this is the United States again. Oh, look what the United States did. That's you, the United States. We deserve better. And we have to do something about it, because the last thing we want is someone else doing something about it. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. And, it's really, I don't know how much more in your face it can be.
Yeah.
Rumsfeld, these guys are dying. Bush, Senior, Rockefeller, Brzezinski, these dudes are all dying. And we're still in the Middle East. I still don't think that the American people have really come to grips with what we've done and what we continue to do. And until we do take a hard look in the mirror, we're going to pay the price. It's no coincidence. You can't just invade countries around the world and expect, the war machine is not going to make its way back to you. And now it is. It's making its way back to the American people, and like with this insurrection, they're calling, American protesters criminals. So I'm surprised I haven't had a knock on my door.
I'm surprised they don't want to fucking execute the motherfuckers to make examples out of them,
Yeah, how dare you protest?
These people are treasonous. They must be shot.
Well, I can't. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But
Look, if I have my choice, I would much rather go the easy route than having to fucking, fight it out, because that's not gonna be easy.
I'm just throwing some curveballs at you, because Rumsfeld is just bringing back all these great memories back in the day. And living here in Colorado, I grew up in Boulder, up there at CU, right, University of Colorado.
Yeah.
And there was a professor who brought some controversy back in the day.
Hold on. Okay,
Sure.
CU. Now there must be all kinds of jokes about CU, right? CU at the party, whatever. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
CU. Yeah, at the party, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't go to CU.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Actually, I did.
It's no big deal. It's all good. But do you remember this guy, Ward Churchill?
I don't remember him right off the top of my head, but it's a very familiar name.
It doesn't matter, but he sparked controversy back after 9/11 and the Iraq War and all that. Donald Rumsfeld, when he said that the American troops or the American people were little Eichmanns, and that the terrorists, quote unquote, who attacked on 9/11 were the chickens coming home to roost.
Right, I remember that quote. Yeah, I think I remember that.
It's not a big deal, but at the time I didn't really agree with him. But I think as time has gone on, 20 years later, he was proven right. And Donald Rumsfeld was a piece of shit, and anybody who I don't know, doesn't see that, it's just unfortunate. And then back one more step to your last caller. Again, I'm just all over the place here. Yeah, I've never bought into this whole Julian Assange thing. I think it's fake. It seems to be contrived. I mean, look at John McAfee, as if being in an Argentinian or a British consulate would protect you from mercenaries, the CIA, or anybody else. And then you have Pamela Anderson coming to visit him back, and he's been alive this long. I mean, the whole thing just seems like Hollywood-esque. Any thoughts on that?
I don't know. Look, Julian seems to be prosecuted. He seems like he tried to do the right thing, and in the land of lies, truth is treason, right? So it seems like he's being, and they're not supposed to go into an embassy. That's considered to be, the property of the people who are represented in that embassy. So if it's the Ecuadorian embassy, then that's Ecuadorian territory. The police are not allowed to come in there. Okay. That being said, Julian Assange has been raked over the coals, whether it's just in the public eye or whatever. I don't know exactly what's going on with him, but it seems like if any of what we're hearing is true, not the parts about him raping this girl or whatever, being a traitor, again, in the land of lies, truth is treason, it's just, obvious that he's being, crucified to set an example of other people who might come behind him to try and release, government documents.
Am I too far out there with the conspiracies? Like, what the hell does Pamela Anderson have to do with any of this?
Pamela Anderson was corresponding with him for years and years while he was in the Ecuadorian embassy, and I think that they probably got a friendship, and like he didn't ever have any visitors or anything, so I think somehow.
Well, I don't remember Ron Paul hanging out with Pamela Anderson, or I don't even understand. Pamela Anderson is some sort of civil rights activist.
Again, she was corresponding with him while he was in the embassy, and they found some kind of a friendship. They started a friendship, and she had the ability, however, to be able to get into the Ecuadorian embassy and visit him. So I don't know. Yeah.
I want to root for him. I am rooting for him.
Yeah.
The whole thing just seems like the same thing with Snowden. I mean, and they make a movie, they make a movie about him, and it all just seems very convenient. Like, do you really need Chuck Snowden and Julian Assange to tell you that there's tyranny? I mean, I can just walk out my door.
Well, we need them to show the evidence, right? We don't have the evidence without them.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Like I said, I didn't want to shit on.
No, look, I get it. I get it. Look, with all the psyops that are being operated on the American people and the people around the world, it's easy to wonder. It's like that last clip with Kennedy. I keep playing this clip from the beginning of that collapse video segment that she did, the Miami collapse, where she's saying that, something more nefarious that people aren't talking about, aren't even willing to recognize or whatever. There's this evil shit going on in our government, and nobody wants to dig through shit, and this shit is piled fucking miles deep. So, there's all this nefarious shit going on. There's all these psyops being pulled on the American people and people around the world.
It's hard to know who to trust.
It's easy. It's really easy to go, yeah, if I don't believe this or I don't believe that. I mean, look at, it's easy to go, oh, this looks like a movie, because it is a movie, and you don't know who to trust, and we're lied to constantly, so you don't want to just believe things, which is completely understandable. I get exactly where you're coming from. There's no doubt in my mind. I get exactly where you're coming from.
You got any? I really appreciate that, Mike. I appreciate that, man. That's why I watch this show, because you are a voice of reason, and I try to tell everybody I know to watch your show, man.
Well, thanks very much, John. That's very nice of you.
Of course. Yeah, man. If you want me to keep going, I can. If not, I'll let you go, man. And
well, you're welcome to go for another minute or two if you got something else you'd like to talk about. I'm not trying to rush you out.
Yeah, no problem. I would just only say that it's just I continue to just be in disbelief with the COVID, as I call it, and now people are just acting like nothing ever happened. It's crazy.
Oh man, it's so strange to go from "we're all gonna die" to "it's summer, yay!"
Yeah, exactly. We're all at the baseball game now. It's like,
right.
What happened? Yep. That's all I would say is that we can't forget about that, and keep doing what you're doing, man. I look forward to your show every night, and I really appreciate your guests. I've noticed you have some reoccurring callers, and I enjoy a lot of what they have to say. I can't remember their names, but shout out to all those guys as well.
Killer Mike and Chris from Olympia.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, Manny. Well, it's always good to hear from you too, John. So I look forward to talking to you soon.
Right on, John Murdoch. Don't forget. Keep it up, Mike. Talk to you later.
Okay. See ya.
Peace.
Okay. So let's see. What do we have now? Should we play another video? Because I can do that. I think we should. I think. Let's see. Do we need to get caught up to speed on Bill Cosby? Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, let's try here for a second. I got to go heat up another cup of tea. I'll be right back. This is, again, I have a little clip of Kennedy right at the beginning of this video. I think. If not, I'll play the other one. No, I have a clip of Kennedy at the beginning. So, which I thought was interesting, and I hope you find it interesting too. This is the Bill Cosby press conference.
And I have a feeling that Bill Cosby might wake up tonguing Hitler's bunghole in hell. Thank you, Randy.
I got to interrupt. I'm sorry, Dr. Hotez. We're going to go to Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, where Bill Cosby is about to speak.
We knew all along he never should have been prosecuted for this. He had every right to rely on the prosecutor's word. And they pulled the rug out from underneath him because of politics, because of the court of public opinion, and that is not how our system should operate. When that happens, there cannot be a just sentence. And if there had been a just verdict and a just sentence, we wouldn't be here fighting. But there was not a just sentence and a not a just verdict. And I think it's really important that we keep our eye on the ball, that our Constitution is sacred, and that we need to uphold it at all times. And I'm glad that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court saw that.
Brian Perry. I'm very proud of the team that we put together. Very proud to be part of this case. We always thought that eventually this is where it would end up. Mr. Cosby and I had many, many talks over the last couple of years. I predicted it, and we're here. It's a good day for the Cosby family.
Mr. Cosby, how does it feel to be home?
Well, he is extremely happy to be home. He looks forward to reuniting with his wife and his children. And obviously, this has been a hard 3 years for this entire family. And it's really a blessing for him. And he says, you know, his heart is just beating really fast, and he's happy to be here.
And we have Ashley here who worked on the case. Ask yourself a few words. Ashley Cohen.
I'm just honored to be part of such an amazing team. These lawyers did an incredible job, and I'm so thankful to be a part of it and to help Mr. Cosby, and I'm just proud to be here and watch him get released.
And this wonderful attorney, Haley, you see right here. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Her father was in prison with Mr. Cosby, and he sent a message to Mr. Cosby before he left today for her. Say a few words.
He did. He said that he loves me very, very much, and I...
What's your father's name?
Richard. And I in return love him very, very much in return, and I was glad that Mr. Cosby and him got to know each other while we were incarcerated together, and I'm blessed and so grateful to be here to see Mr. Cosby be released.
And in closing, this was an unwanted 3-year vacation. This was an unwanted 3-year vacation that Mr. Cosby never asked for. But in hindsight, we're happy that he got it because he was able to pull the covers off of the corruption in Montgomery County. With the crooked DA, with the crooked judge, Steele and O'Neill. These same people find this man, this American citizen. I don't know how a DA has that much time on his hands. Fined him $2,010 for not cutting his yard. I was on the way to pay that fine when I got a call from Nick DeHatt, and Nick told me that they had vacated the conviction. You know, what we saw today was justice. Justice for all Americans. Mr. Cosby conviction being overturned is for the world and all Americans who are being treated unfairly by the judicial system and some bad officers, because all officers are not bad. So we want to thank this entire team. We want to thank Mrs. Cosby, her family. I want to thank my family, and just thank you all for those who decided to tell the truth and allowed us to tell the truth when we had the opportunity.
Mr. Cosby, how are you feeling? How are you feeling, Mr. Cosby? Mr. Cosby, how are you feeling? Are you happy to be out?
Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
All right, so Bill Cosby and his legal team heading back to his house in Elkins Park right outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We heard a lot of people in the crowd cheering or yelling at him. We heard his legal representatives talking about what they perceive to be an injustice of Mr. Cosby having spent the previous 3 years in prison. We did not hear Bill Cosby speak himself. He was just released this afternoon. He appears to be in somewhat frail condition. Let's go back to our...
And I have a feeling that Bill Cosby might wake up tonguing Hitler's bunghole in hell. Thank you, Randy. And I have a feeling that Bill Cosby might wake up tonguing Hitler's bunghole in hell. Thank you, Randy.
I got to interrupt. I'm sorry, Dr. Hotez. We're going to go to Elkins Park, Pennsylvania, where Bill Cosby is about to speak.
We knew all along he never should have been prosecuted.
And I have a feeling that Bill Cosby might wake up tonguing Hitler's bunghole in hell. Thank you, Randy.
I got to interrupt. I'm sorry, Dr. Hotez.
Tonguing Hitler's bunghole in hell. I'm really hoping that's where Donald Rumsfeld woke up. Actually, I hope Donald Rumsfeld doesn't get nearly that good a service. He deserves so much worse. Ooh, look, we have 2 moderators now. What's happening? I am waiting for a phone call. If I do not get a phone call in the next minute or 2, I will play a video. So, that being said, Bill Cosby, I don't know where to go with Bill Cosby. I can tell you, he looks horrible. He looks horrible. I mean, I have no sympathy for the man. He looks horrible. I really... I think he might have been better off just staying in prison, so he didn't have to stand there looking like he doesn't know where he's at. You know, I mean, he looks worse than Joe Biden, right? Let's see. I'm gonna play a video now because I can, and no one's calling. So here you go. I'm gonna give you just a minute to call, and then I'll be right back.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky. Some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
Side effects may include elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness. Fucking brilliant. They are, no doubt. Now, since we don't have any phone callers, I'm thinking about playing another video. I'm thinking about playing video number 1 through 10. Pick a number, 1 through 10. Which one is it? Let's see. I need a timeout, that's for sure. I didn't say that. Who said that? I didn't say that. What did Whisper do now? Huh? Huh? Tuna. Okay, I'm gonna play another video because we don't have any callers, and that's what I do here. So I'm gonna play this video, and then I have one video left. So let's get this done. If you don't want to call, so that you know, I'm here to talk with you guys. Excuse me, you lovely people, and that's what I want to do. I want to have a conversation. I don't mind sharing with you what's on my mind. there's, I only want to go so far with that. Not meaning that I don't want to express to you genuinely what's on my mind, meaning I don't want to sit here and ramble on about what you're supposed to think because I think that too. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to go, hey, what do you think about this? Because at Mox News, your opinions and your voice have always been the most important part of Mox News. And I'd really like it if more people could get involved. I'm not trying to chase you off. I'm not trying to do anything but have a conversation. So, and if you'd like to be part of it, the telephone number is right there on the screen. 805-669-6397. 805 Mox News. Be right back. Let's see, which one? Oh, we'll go here.
Gallagher out west for us, taking this breaking news as it comes in. Thank you, Trace.
It's the bottom of the hour, now the top of the news, and former President Trump is visiting the epicenter of President Biden's border crisis as Texas ramps up its own response to stop the surge of migrants coming across the border. Former President Trump is with Texas Governor Greg Abbott and a GOP congressional delegation.
Hi, David. What's going on, man?
The topic is Mr. Rumsfeld tonight.
I'm talking. Rumsfeld died. I want to point out who Rumsfeld was, and what you can talk about whatever you like.
I think the most defining moment for him was when he shook hands with Saddam Hussein in Iraq.
Yeah,
I believe it was during the time of the Iran war.
Right. Yeah, that's the thumbnail that I used tonight.
Yeah, he's kind of like I think that kind of like got him his quote unquote like made man status with the whole like mafia that's the government and the Bushes.
Right.
Because that was like his made man moment.
Yeah, like you said, the Bushes and all these people in government, the shaking hands with Saddam. The shaking hands with Saddam, not only is it the definition of who Donald Rumsfeld was, it's also the definition of who our government is. And it just makes me so sick that, Donald Rumsfeld is just a perfect example of who our government is. And our government being the ones who represent each and every one of us.
Yes, and I think they were all implicit in what the military-industrial complex that Dwight Eisenhower was warning us before he left office. Because there was a caller that mentioned earlier tonight how he was involved with some kind of like drug or food or soybeans he was talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure about that. I haven't researched that, but what I have researched is he was very involved with a sweetener called aspartame, which is linked to cancers, and it's in like gum and sweeteners, and it's an artificial sweetener.
Yeah, and it was kind of like poisoning people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I remember that he was involved with that. What's that?
It's one of those things that never like broke to the public. It was something that was kept under the table. They were able to suppress that information because it never got to the mainstream.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I remember multiple stories about that. It went on. It was a discussion for a very small amount of time, but it definitely was a back of front page story. But I remember that. And as far as the soybean thing. I remember that he was a representative for DuPont, like the other caller was saying. He was working for DuPont, which is a giant chemical company, and apparently they have something to do with soybeans, or they use soybeans. But he was just, again, this is just a representation of who our government is, because he got these jobs because he was in the government, right? It wasn't because he was this great guy who was on the ball business and fully business minded. It was because he was an evildoer in the government, and companies like DuPont need evildoers that they can depend on.
Yep, and he was also the Secretary of Defense during 9/11, if I'm not mistaken. And we all know, well, we all don't know, but the people who research it know that it was completely an inside job. You know, I think, I'm not sure if you, there was a recent collapse in a building in Miami. And
Yeah.
you can like almost see like the flashes in the condo building as it's going down, and it's very reminiscent of what happened at the Twin Towers, not only 1 and 2, but 7 as well.
I thought so too. It's watching it fall. It looked a lot like that. Did you see the Kennedy clip that I've been playing, where she's saying something more nefarious than just the collapse of the building, implying that there were people behind the collapse of the building? Because I don't think Mother Nature can be nefarious. You know, humans are nefarious. So
Definitely, and they were. It seems to me that they were trying to get somebody. You know, like, I don't know who it was, but it seems like it's like one of those like Israeli type kids, you know?
yeah.
I'm not saying it was Israel, but I'm saying the way it was done, it looks like they were going for a particular person, because they weren't. Those things aren't like, they're not. They're not full all year round. They're like timeshare type things, you know?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I'm really bothered. Yesterday I played a video interview with the Israeli military commander, who is commanding Israeli military troops at the site in Miami, the collapse site. And it really bothers me that the Israeli government is in Miami. You know, the Israeli military is in Miami working on this, search and rescue operation. It's like, oh, well, we don't have anybody in our own military who can do that. Is that right? Because it seems really fucked up that the Israeli government, the Israeli military is in there doing that shit. You know, because I remember on 9/11, they brought in search and rescue teams from around the world with their dogs and all that, and none of them were military. So I'm really bothered again by the Israeli military being on the site in Miami. Doesn't seem right.
It's like what you were saying. I think you're referencing Assange from Ecuador. It's like the embassy is supposed to be away from military presence, you know, and they're supposed to respect certain things. It's like, isn't Miami a city in the United States of America? You know, it's like, what's the legal thing? And it's like, why are you doing this? Is this like behind the scenes favors? You know, like, and I said, I don't know if Israel is involved, but now that you told me that, it seems like Israel has something to do with it. You know.
Again, I don't understand why there is Israeli military on that site. I've watched this happen numerous times, where there's a collapse of a building and all these fucking amazing people come in and they bring their dogs and they do this search and rescue stuff. I can't ever remember the Israeli military being, you know, a presence on the ground at the site of a collapsed building in this country. So I'm a little bothered by that.
You know, when you said that, the first thing that comes to my mind is kind of a little off topic, but like, I know that there's military presence of like, I know there's a German military presence within the United States, and I think several other countries have like their military like doing exercises, you know. I don't know if they cycle in and out, but I'm aware of military presence of other countries like in our country.
Yeah, well, there are military presence in our country. There's a lot of training that goes on here for a lot of other countries, and you know, they have to have a certain amount of staff, a certain amount of presence, as you're saying, to be able to make all that happen logistically. So I don't know what they're doing, but again, they're not on this site of a collapsed building that looks like other nefarious things might have happened that no one's talking about. Why is the Israeli military there? It bothers the fuck out of me.
It seems like everything we talked about goes back to the military-industrial complex again, and like those are or whoever's behind all of that are the ones making like the major decisions.
Yeah, if we could just destroy the military-industrial complex, the Earth would be such a better place for everyone, for the generation coming up behind us. Everyone. Oh my God. How do we do that? I mean, that seems like that should be the top of the priority list. How do we destroy the military-industrial complex?
Well, I think just the places to start would be, the people that are making the bombs in our country, do they know, like, where they're going and what's the end result for their bombs? Because it's not like it's World War II or, World War I, where it's like there's a threat, of countries like killing millions of people, like at the moment. This is like we're making the bombs not to hunt terrorists, but to bomb civilian populations.
Right. And do you know what? Do you know why? Because you're talking about there's not a terrorist threat just yet. They're making the terrorist threat. They're by bombing civilians and people who, they kill this person's mother and father and sister and brother, and they're the only ones left in their family. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to be like, oh, the United States is my savior. I don't think so. Okay? And you're going to have generations of this. It's going to be, payback. It's horrible. The Pentagon is doing this on purpose to create terrorists so that they have a reason that their budget needs to be bigger, bigger, bigger.
Definitely. I agree.
Yeah.
And there's going to be an end to it, and I think, to be honest, I've been putting a lot of thought into this, and I think what's going to bring this all down is the American dollar. It's like, if you look at things, like we were just talking about, it's like, if the military-industrial complex becomes unprofitable because of a combination of people waking up to the truth that, hey, we're making bombs that go to kill people that aren't terrorists, and then it's like, well, the dollar's going down because the economy sucks because they just printed, like, how many trillions of dollars for this pandemic, and then when people start investing in cryptocurrencies and so on and so forth, the dollar is really going to suffer. We're already starting to see inflation. And I think it's all going to happen rather quickly, to be honest with you.
Well, I imagine that it will happen quickly when it happens. The thing is I've been hearing the same thing since September 11th, dude. The dollar's going to collapse and we're all going to be fucked. We're all so fucked. The dollar, it's this fear, hyped up fear. And I'm not talking about you hyping it up. I'm talking about what I always say about the hyped up fear. Is that don't buy into the hyped up fear. These people, that's the first thing they want you to do is be afraid. So do everything in your power to shake that off. I understand where you're coming from. Again, this is exactly what I've heard since September 12th, 2001. The dollar's going to collapse. And I'm not saying that it's not going to. I'm just saying that I'm really glad that I didn't carry that fear with me every fucking day of the week since September 12, 2001, because that would have been cancer building. I would not be the person I am if I brought that with me everywhere.
I agree, and I believe we talked about Ron Paul before, and he was big on that whole dollar collapse and whatnot, and I thought it would have happened by now, with all the things that I have heard since September 11th, as you mentioned. And I'm not saying, like, from now until the fall or whatever, like, the dollar's going to collapse. I don't think it's going to be that quickly. But I think there's going to be, like, a period of slow inflation where everything just costs a little bit more and a little bit more, a little bit more. And then there's going to be some kind of, like, catalyst or trigger or something. And there goes the dollar,
Yeah, well, go ahead. Go ahead.
For me personally, I see all the, I've been studying the stock market recently, I've been seeing, like, the ebb and flow of the stocks, and I've been seeing what the what the authorities like the DTCC and the SEC and all these organizations that are supposed to protect people from manipulative trading processes in this country that aren't doing anything. And like the more I learn about this, it's like these people are screwing people out of money. They're screwing businesses. They're putting businesses out of work, and they're putting people out of work, and it's this cycle that repeats and repeats. You know, when the economy's good and everything, everybody makes money, everybody's happy. But when the economy goes down a little bit, these hedge funds are predatory, and they just short these companies until there's no company left. And they're just putting people out of business and taking people's money, and it's criminal. And like we were talking about, it's part of the same system, same government, et cetera, et cetera. But what I see and what I'm going to do with my money is I'm going to slowly take my money out of dollars, like 401k, and just for an example, and I'm going to start moving into cryptocurrency and spread it out through several cryptocurrencies and do other things with cryptocurrency. So when the dollar goes down, the price of these cryptocurrencies go up, and I have more assets overall. But that's just my plan for the future.
What cryptocurrencies look good to you? To invest, you're talking about investing your future into cryptocurrencies. What is it that you trust that much to do that?
Well, there's the Ethereum blockchain, which has several things going on for them right now.
Yeah.
They have, I'm playing a game right now called Axie Infinity, where you buy NFTs that are the characters in the game, and you can improve on them, and you can actually breed them to make more.
Huh.
But it either costs you a little bit of money, or you have to build the points up through the game. When I started the game about a month and a half ago, there was about 40,000 people playing it, and I believe now it's 150,000. And it's really big in the Philippines, it's really big in Brazil. So the way that game works is you get like the equivalent of about $5 in cryptocurrency if you complete the daily task, right? So $5 doesn't mean much to us, but it means a lot to someone in the Philippines or somebody in Brazil or some other country. So
yeah,
as this gets worldwide, the game is going to explode, and that's just one of several. But the neat thing is, like, when you have your money in those games, there's no taxes on that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's not trackable. It's not trackable to you because you have a crypto wallet. So the crypto wallet is anonymous. So whatever happens between your crypto wallet and this game or something else is anonymous. So when people start figuring this out, like, it might take a year, it might take 10 years, it might take 25 years. But by the time, people figure this out, like, the dollar it's screwed.
Yeah, well, look, I think you're right that there is going to be a collapse of the dollar. The thing is, like you said, it'll probably happen really fast. Or you said, I don't know if it'll happen really fast or really slow. I think it will probably happen very, very quickly. I think that they'll just be pushed over to an edge and it'll go straight down. That being said, it's not something I'm going to put a lot of thought into. I recommend that this is something that you don't dwell on. Not you in particular, because there's enough in the world to stress people out about already. And as I've said, this is something I've heard pretty much every day since September 11th, 2001, is that the economy is going to collapse. And so, as I was saying, if I worried about it, like, oh, the economy is going to collapse every day since September 11th, 2001, I would be so fucked up, dude. So, and I'm just trying to recommend that you don't get that fucked up. Not you in particular. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I don't really think the economy is going to go off the deep end. I think it's going to destroy things that the dollar is based in, that are very strong ties to the dollar. Because I just think it's going to be like a transition. I think we're going to see a transition of wealth when it happens. I think, like, the people, like I mentioned, the hedge funds and stuff, I think it's going to kind of transition to people that are going to be using and investing in cryptocurrencies. But that's just a hunch of mine. So
Yeah.
I can't see the future.
Yeah, none of us can. All right, so what's your name?
David.
Hey, David. Thanks a lot for calling. It's good to hear from you. I hope things are I hope you're doing well where you're at. And I'm glad to hear you got a 401k.
Yes, and it's a pleasure talking with you like always, Mike. Thank you.
All right, David. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you. See ya. All right, so let's see. I have another video I'm going to play for you now because that's what I do. And I'll be right back. I really like this thing with Kennedy, man. This Kennedy clip where she talks about stuff being more nefarious is important.
And I have a feeling that Bill Cosby might wake up tonguing Hitler's bunghole in hell. Thank you, Randy.
I got it.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious.
No one is acknowledging out loud. No one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious. I think this is an important clip. I don't hear anybody acknowledging out loud that, there might be something more here than, what we're being told. I don't hear anybody acknowledging that. It's like, oh, we stepped right back into September 11th mode, and everybody says exactly what they're supposed to say. Not that this looks strange, and that video reminds me of September 11th, and the building kind of fell straight down, and I think that Kennedy saying more nefarious than anyone's acknowledging.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious, something far more nefarious. Energy Secretary Jennifer Grant.
Something far more nefarious. What do you think that she's talking about? I think that that's an important clip. And I'm gonna clip it out. I mean, I put that at the front of the Kennedy clip, and I'm gonna clip that out, and we're gonna use that again. Something far more nefarious. I think that says a lot, and I really would love to talk to anyone about what they think she's saying there, or insinuating, I should say. Until you call, I'm going to play a video because that's what I do. Let's see, did I play this one already?
Gallagher out west for us, taking this breaking news as it comes in. Thank you, Trace.
It's the bottom of the hour, now the top of the news, and former President Trump is visiting the epicenter of President Biden's border crisis as Texas ramps up its own response to stop the surge of migrants coming across the border. Former President Trump is with Texas Governor Greg Abbott and a GOP congressional delegation. The group attending a briefing on border security. Later, they'll get a look at the border wall at ground zero of the crisis, the Rio Grande Valley, where the number of migrants is overwhelming the Border Patrol. After several months bringing you the shocking statistics on the surge, today, a heartbreaking reminder of what's really at stake. These images of a 2-year-old boy abandoned by the side of a road in Mexico. The National Migration Institute reports that he was found near a truck crammed with more than 100 people, all risking their lives hoping to enter the U.S. Let's listen now to President Trump there with Governor Abbott.
Us that wanted to defund. It's like Russia, Russia, Russia. Everyone said, Russia, Russia, Russia. I said, what's that all about? And then they said, oh, you were very friendly. Well, that's been proven to be false. Not only false, it was them that were associated with Russia. It was them, the Democrats and Hillary and the group that gave money to Russia. So it's a disinformation campaign, and it's a terrible campaign where they're trying to say this is a disaster for them. Let's blame the people that have really done something about it and can do something about it. But when your hands get tied because you no longer control the White House or Congress, it's a disgrace. Dan, we worked on it hard and we worked on it long and we discussed it every week.
Right.
And we had it down to a point that we'd never seen anything like it. I'm so glad that you mentioned the fentanyl, because the fentanyl was almost a non-factor. And now I hear it's just pouring into our country. And it's the most dangerous of all, but just pouring into our country. And we stopped also human trafficking, mostly in women. The human trafficking was almost stopped. We built almost 500 miles of wall, despite 2.5 years of lawsuits, litigation, started by Congress, Nancy Pelosi and the Congress. They sued us for everything. And we won the suits and we started. And within a few months, you would have had the wall totally complete. And they ought to paint it. They're supposed to paint the wall, and they aren't even doing that. They got to get a coat of paint on the wall. Believe it or not, it does rust. Maybe that's what they like. Let it rust, let it rot. But we built a wall that was not a wall that anybody could get through. We had very few breakthroughs, unbelievably few. It just, the only breakthrough is let them walk around to the few open areas where you have, we had problems on land disputes, et cetera, et cetera. All of those problems were resolved. So we got them resolved. So you could have completed the wall in a couple of months, and they decided not to. Now I hear rumors that they want to do it, but it's only common sense. You know, they were saying we want high-tech security. And I used to go around in speeches, I say, the two things that will never get old are a wheel and a wall. And that's true. I mean, when you get right down to it, the wall worked, really worked. And again, almost 500 miles of wall. And then we had another 200 that we were thinking about doing, less important areas from the standpoint of people coming in, but nevertheless, Sheriff, very important. We discussed it. And we did a great job. And within a period of a few months, it was all dissipated. Remain in Mexico, so important. Catch and release, we broke that one. Chain migration, where people come in and then they bring everybody else in with them. We did a hell of a job, and we had it down to really a science. It was down to a point where people just weren't getting in unless they came in legally. And again, the drugs had dropped by 70, 80, 90% in some cases, and fentanyl is true. It almost dropped to nothing for whatever reason, but I guess the reason was we were tough. Mm-hmm. This was a great group, and all they had to do is go to the beach. If they went to the beach and did nothing, they would have been fine. And they could have even had other people with your policies take your places if they felt that they want Democrats, but that usually doesn't work out too well. But Chad, you and Mark and Tom on the outside, I mean, it was just an amazing group of people. And I'll tell you, Brandon has been incredible. From day one, he came to me from day one. It's no games, no nothing. You knew that we were going to do it right. And I'd ask him a lot. I'd say, what do you think about this? I was calling him once every 4 or 5 days to get his advice, because nobody knows. Like, for instance, on the wall, I was going to build a very good precast concrete wall. Would have been really fast. I loved it. I was going to do super hard precast, the 5,000-pound concrete. And the Border Patrol hated it because they wanted to be able to see through. I said, why? And after we go through, then we put the panels on top. And yes, you're all nodding. It's true. The panels on top, it's sort of a safety climb, no-climb panel. And that panel adds great difficulty to being able, believe it or not, because a couple of people said, why'd you put the panel on top? And it was really a no-climb panel. It's very hard to climb it. Once you get there, then you have the panel on top of everything else. So I did it 100% as per Border Patrol, ICE, and everybody else in conjunction, even with your top people. Mm-hmm. We designed a wall that was terrific. You know, you see it as steel, but it's not really. It's steel on the outside. It's hardened concrete on the inside of the bollards. And then it's also rebar, and it's a very heavy rebar and a very powerful rebar, very strong rebar, steel. So we had steel, concrete, and steel, and when they cut through it, they got to really want to get through. They got to really want to get through. And we've had almost no instances of that. So we built a wall that was not penetrable, and we were just about finished, and then we had an election where we did much better than we did the first time. And amazingly, we lost. Check out the New York election today, by the way. They just realized it's a disaster. They're unable to count the votes. Did you see it? It just came out. They're missing 135,000 votes. They put 135,000 make-believe votes in. Our elections are a disaster. But this election, because of you and Dan and Ken and everybody, I want to just thank the people of Texas because we won in a landslide. It wasn't even close. Well, I always said, you know, they were saying, well, Texas is going to be close. I said, well, I'm in favor of oil, I'm in favor of God, and I'm in favor of guns.
Trump is in favor of God. You think God gives a fuck? He doesn't think God gives a fuck. He doesn't care what God thinks. You know what he thinks? He thinks that all these people who love God so much will love me if I tell them I'm in favor of God. I'm in favor of God. Oh, the flavor. I'm in favor of God. And rebar. I was like, oh man, say rebar again, motherfucker. Oh, by the way, that pup was for Ford. Ford, thank you so much. Very generous. Ford generously donated $10 this evening, and I've decided from here on out, every day when someone gives a donation, I will take a dab in their honor. Because why the fuck not? I'm going to do it anyway. But it's very nice of you, Ford, and thank you very much. And that dab was for you. So, that being said, let's see, I want to play this, I want to just take a minute and explain something, but I'm going to have to play the white privilege card in order to do that.
Trump won the election. Among the suspect's possessions, this is real, a white privilege card. I want you to take a look at this. It's a fake white privilege credit card. Subtitle, Trump's everything. The card holder, scot-free, with 2 T's. Scot-free is actually spelled with 1 T, but, you know, 2 T's on that card. That one piece of evidence, an insight into the man's state of mind, that he can get away with anything because of his skin color. His lawyer's saying that.
And this is real, people. A fake. This is real. A fake white privilege card. This is real. A fake white privilege card. And this shows the state of mind of this individual. And it shows the state of mind of Don Lemon. Number one, that he doesn't have a mind. And number two, that he doesn't have a sense of humor. Fake white privilege card. This is real. A fake white privilege card. I despise that person. Okay, so where were we? Right, I wanted to talk about, I want to do this.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious, something far more nefarious. Energy Secretary.
Something far more nefarious. That's our government through and through. We've talked about this over and over tonight. Something far more nefarious. Okay? This is what I'm saying. We can't trust our government. We've talked about this again and again. This government is pure evil. And it's not a matter of whether it's the left government that is, or the right government, or the left news, or the right news. That's all a lie. There's no left, there's no right. And it's not okay for you to identify that way. And the reason is because you're so much more than a liberal. Oh, I'm a liberal. No. You're this amazing, creative, deal with stuff person. When whatever comes at you, you're gonna, if you need to be over here and discuss it this way, if you need to be over here, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that you can't have your opinion be consistent. What I'm saying is this left thing is not real. It's like, oh, well, if we can program these people who want to identify as churchgoers, conservatives, we love guns, if we can, talk to them, then not only do we have an audience that's already built in, but we can program them to say, oh, well, this is how we people are. This is how we are. This is how we are. We keep being told that's how we are by this people. Just like the other side. Well, this is how we are. This is what we believe. As liberals, this is what we make happen. As conservatives, you're not. You're not. You're not. You're a think on your feet kind of person who has to have the freedom to move whichever direction you need to go. That's what it means to be tippy top of the food chain. And by identifying as a liberal or conservative, you somewhat lose this think on your feet kind of decision-making process. You kind of box yourself into, this is what we believe. This is what all good liberals believe. This is what all good conservatives believe. Of course there's a heaven. I really want someone to describe heaven to me, because I'll have to ask Manny to describe heaven for me, or anyone else. Hello, caller. Can you please describe heaven to me?
Hello. This is Joe Biden.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, son of a bitch.
No.
I wrote the bill. I personally wrote the bill.
No.
Yeah. Can you not hear me?
Joe Biden never wrote a single fucking thing. That's like, oh, I wrote this book. Joe Biden wrote this book. What a load of shit. Joe Biden never wrote anything in his life. Somebody else writes everything for him. And then they put it in front of him and he goes, oh, this is good.
I write all my shit.
It's shit, that's for sure.
All of my shit. Okay?
Speaking of shit, when was the last time you had your diaper changed?
Fucking literally like 20 minutes ago.
Excellent. You have like a nurse who does that for you, or your wife do it for you, or the Secret Service change your diaper? I'm just wondering.
I have this woman named Caitlin. House servant. And she works very good with,
You'll have to speak up, sir. We can't hear you.
she works very good.
All right. It's nice to hear from you, Mr. Joe. Nice to hear from you, Mr. Joe.
Yo, it's nice to hear from you, you reporters. I swear to God, you reporters. Fucking drop me. Fucking great. Reporting shit, fucking asking me fucking questions. And I have to fucking do this interview at fucking 10:30 o'clock on a fucking goddamn Thursday. And all this.
All right. Thanks for calling. Goodbye. Goodbye. All right. So if anyone else would like to give a little something to Mox News like Ford did moments ago. You know what? You know what? That was pretty good about using the duct tape as a pest strip. I really like that idea. I never thought of that before.
It never works. It doesn't fucking work.
Oh well.
Just saying.
All right, thanks for calling, Mr. Joe.
Hey, this is Joe Biden. I end the call. I'll get the fucking Secret Service up in your fucking ass and I'll do an Ashley fucking Babbitt on you.
They will do that whenever they choose to do that. I'm not concerned.
Secret Service. It's secret.
Yeah. Okay. Nice to hear from you, Joe.
I gotta go.
Okay, go, Joe.
I'm going.
I bet you are. Better call that nurse. To change his diaper, in case you missed that part of the dialogue. Where were we? Oh, right. We were talking about something more nefarious.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm had a pretty callous take on the Florida building collapse when she was asked whether...
She was asked something far more nefarious. I want to understand what it is she's saying. No one has explained to me what she means by far more nefarious that no one's willing to talk about. Because I think this is so important. And no one's willing to talk about it, apparently. And, you know, I value you all's opinion. So, as individuals and free thinkers, that sound good? And I don't want to play any more videos. Oh, well, I can play another video, but... That's not why you were made a mod. Okay, so where was I? Let's see. Let's see. I guess we're all out of videos. I mean, I had... Oh, I know. Over the weekend, on Saturday, we went to go see a show from some friends named Steel Beans. And they played at a little bar up in Everett. And thanks very much to Craig for getting us tickets. And it was a really good show. And those guys are super cool. And here's their latest music video, in case I thought you might enjoy it. I enjoyed it. So, and otherwise I wouldn't be playing for it. And I also really enjoyed their live work. So I'm hoping that we get to play a little more of their stuff in the very near future.
Where did you get this thing, dude? This is what happens when you order a fucking time portal on Wish. This is bullshit. That painting sucks. Alright, whatever. Let's just I don't feel it.
Find Sean's car keys and get back to Everett.
now we're in the desert, and now what?
All right, so as I was saying, we went on Saturday to see Steel Beans, this band, at a little club up in Everett, just north of us, and it was really good. I didn't enjoy the band that came on before them, but it was really good. These guys were much more enjoyable, and I'm actually impressed. They have like this stage presence where there's a lot of very artistic visual stuff going on, and I love that. So, and it was the first show that we got to go to since the plague, which seems like a long, long time, because one of my favorite things is to go see live music. So I'm glad we got to do that. I'm glad we got to hang out with the Steel Beans, and look forward to seeing more of their stuff really soon, hopefully on this channel. So that being said, I'm all out of videos. I don't have any phone callers. I played pretty much everything, including the white privilege card and the bright side, our unofficial sponsor. So since no one's calling, we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow. Same Mox time, same Mox channel. And until then, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is gonna end. Hold on. What now? Hello, caller.
Mox the Fox with a big old what? What's up, Mox? How you doing?
I'm fine.
Nothing much. You know what I gotta talk about today is why is communism not demonized the way Nazism is? You look at communism.
Why isn't capitalism demonized the same way Nazism is?
Because capitalism in its basic form is a trade of goods. That's all it is. That's what capitalism is.
Do you think that's how it's working out? Do you think that's how capitalism is working out?
We got paper, we're going to sell it. That's what capitalism is. What we have now is...
And you think it's working out to be a good system?
We got some oligarchs. We got oligarchs.
Yeah. Okay.
All the money.
Okay. I agree. I think that that's, you know, but they're portraying it as capitalism, and I think that capitalism is, if that's, you know, when you say that capitalism, when you say that capitalism is, you know, the best way to go, or whatever it is, and then these people, I mean, what kind of example do you really have that it's the best? Because basically what I see is it being completely and totally corrupted, and I don't know if it can be different than that, you know. If it was free, if it was actually free trade, which is not anything like what we have, then I could believe in capitalism.
Yeah, that's what it should be, but the problem is we got people using the system. We got people, the Federal Reserve printing out money. It's crypto. It's a bunch of hogwash. Everyone knows that. We got, so you can't really comment and say that that's what capitalism is. When you see full-blown Federal Reserve takeover, printing money out of the air, lowering the value of the dollar, buying out politicians, that's not capitalism. That's crypto capitalism. Well, the basic function of capitalism is exchange of goods for a service, free market. That's what that is. But the problem is, I'm talking about communism and Nazism. Because communism killed my ancestors, plain and simple, Polish ancestors. Nazism has too. But for whatever reason, we got people openly celebrating being a communist. There's no repercussions. There's no repercussions. They just openly celebrate it.
Okay, look, that's what freedom is about. I don't understand. You have a problem with freedom?
The problem is, we're talking about a society issue. Obviously, people have freedom to do whatever they want, but if
you don't make it sound like they have the right to say, "Oh, I like this form of government better." You sound like they don't have the right to do that.
The problem is, one is demonized as a society and one isn't. Nowadays, it used to be, but nowadays, we got people on the left openly with the hammer and sickle, and then on the right, people get condemned harshly. If you walk around with the Nazi flag, you're like a freaking public enemy number one. You're a freaking demon. You're literally Hitler. That's what it is. I mean, everyone knows that means, you're literally Hitler. Everybody's literally Hitler. But when it comes to communism, They got people arguing it, defending it, saying, oh, that's not real communism. It's just to be implemented better, and blah, blah, blah. And anybody that's arguing against me is wrong, because I'm factually correct in my assertion.
Well, you're factually correct in your assertion. I think all the isms are bad. Okay? The thing is that you're acting like people in this country don't have the right to say this form of government is better than that form of government.
People in this country have the right to do whatever they want, obviously. But it doesn't mean they do. It doesn't mean because you're afraid of the backlash. People do certain things because of expectations. They self-censor. They do a lot of things because of society backlash.
I agree. People self-censor a lot. I talk about this when I talk about the NSA listening to everyone, you know, gathering up everybody's cell phone information and putting it in a folder with their name on it. People will say, I remember when they first started discussing this, people would say shit like, well, if I'm not doing anything wrong, why should I care if the government is collecting my information? And you might not care, you know, consciously, but somewhere in your brain you're being told, I'm being watched, I'm being watched, I'm being watched. And you won't act like yourself, regardless if you think that you're not doing anything wrong or not. You still will act in a different manner than that's true to yourself. And so...
Oh, absolutely. Did you hear about Tucker Carlson? That whole ordeal?
Someone was talking about it last night. Go ahead, tell us about it.
Well, he accused the NSA of spying on him, spying on his private information. They came out, denied it, of course. Then you got everyone saying, oh, look, they denied it. Of course they're right. They denied it, so Tucker's wrong. It's like so many sheep. They literally just, whatever they say, well, they deny it. It has to be true. It's like, wait, you're supposed to be questioning authority. I thought you're like a do-gooder, questioning authority type person. Not you, I'm saying in general, these people. But they're just going along with the police state, going along with the surveillance state. Oh, he said it was not happening. It must not be happening.
Yeah.
Think, man.
You know what? It sounds like kind of cover for Tucker, though, too. You know, if Tucker actually is working with the government, like all of the mainstream media, so-called journalists are, then you know, if being this rabble-rouser guy who's like rah, 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 again, the controlled opposition. If he gets this cover to say, oh, look what the government's persecuting me. Oh, no, you know, poor me. Then everybody will think, oh, no, you know, look, he's one of the good ones. See what happens to the good ones? It's like this cover. You know what I mean by cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I hear you. That always is in the back of my mind, too. But the only thing I think with Tucker is he said some good things at war. He's the only one who cut off Syria. Saying, what are we doing in Syria? Why are we waging war on Assad? He defends Julian Assange, things like that.
Yeah.
Literally everyone else.
Right.
Nobody else does that stuff. So there's certain things that he does that I like.
Oh no, I think that Tucker is pretty darn good at what he does. I posted his videos. Let's see, he started off working at CNN. And I posted his videos then, and then he moved to MSNBC. He got his own show, and I posted a lot of videos from there, and now he's on Fox. So I know Tucker's worked very well, and he's always been, you know, kind of a alternative voice in the mainstream media, but it's not that alternative. And again, this is something where, you know, there's this audience. And it's important that we, the mainstream media, grasp that audience as opposed to just leaving it to willy-nilly, whichever voice sounds good on the internet. If we can get this audience to listen to us, then we'll, again, be able to do this this programming of fear and other stuff that we're desperate, division. that we're trying to get into, the community everywhere we can. And if this one part of the community is not listening to us, then that might poison the other community. So we have to put Tucker up as a controlled opposition. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, you know what he did that I really was like shocked by? I was like, wow, this dude's he's got some balls. I don't know who let him say this or what made him say this, but it's shocking. Want to know?
What's that?
He was talking about demographics and voters, like the changing demographics is obviously going to favor Democrats and this and that. And the ADL came out and they did their usual spiel. Always, that's white supremacist talking points. He's talking about the Great Replacement, blah blah blah. He didn't do anything like that. He was talking about demographics and immigration, and they came out and did this whole white supremacy, replacing white, blah blah blah. And what did he do? He came out and said, well, you look at the ADL, and they came out and made a statement regarding Israel, and they saying Jews need to be the majority because if Arabs come in, then the voting, they're going to lose their sovereignty and this and that. ADL shut up real quick, exposed them for being hypocrites, and that was one of the most shocking statements. You're exposing Israel, you're exposing Jews for being hypocrites. That's shocking. So when he said that, I had to give him some respect, and then he said stuff about the Julian Assange when everyone else demonizes him. Said stuff about Syria when everyone's demonizing Assad.
Yeah, and like you said, yeah, he's pretty much anti-war, even drug war. He doesn't like the drug war either. So, and like I said, I've followed his work and posted his work for almost 15, 16, 17 years now. So I must have some appreciation of him, otherwise I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, the problem is there's really not a high bar in regards to the mainstream, to media personalities. I mean, you got him, or you got what you can post Rachel Maddow, Sean Hannity. It's like it's him, and then there's a huge drop off between anybody even close. I mean, everyone else on TV is just trash. So it's like when you see somebody who's telling the truth on certain issues, like, holy cow, this dude. But really, it's just common sense stuff he's saying.
I think Kennedy does a pretty good job too.
Kennedy, you think so?
Kennedy, I think Kennedy does a good show. Not Hannity, Kennedy.
Oh, who's Kennedy? What show does he do?
Kennedy, Kennedy. She has her own show on Fox Business, and I play clips of her pretty much every night.
Okay, never heard of her. I gotta check her out.
Yeah, she does a pretty good job. She's very anti-drug war. All night long I've been playing this clip of her talking about the collapsed building in Miami, where she says that there might be something more nefarious going on than people aren't willing to talk about. She really is a good kind of a breath of fresh air, like you're saying, like Tucker.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. We need the voices on the TV talking some breath of fresh air because everyone else is trash. Fucking CIA talking points.
Right.
Hey, Mark, I'm gonna leave you to it. Thanks for taking the time.
All right.
Next time.
All right. It's good to hear from you. Talk to you later.
Okay.
All right. So where were we? What were we saying? Let's see. I am just about out of here. So the Kennedy clip, in case he's still watching, the Kennedy clip that I've been talking about is very short. I'll play it for you now.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious, I
mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the Republicans...
Okay, what now? You didn't get tickets, did you?
It's free, dude.
I can't leave the dogs on 4th of July.
It's the 2nd of July.
Uh-huh, okay.
July 2nd, Friday.
Alright, so where were we? Right. No callers. We do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow. Same Mox time, same Mox channel. Until then, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is gonna end. Stay cool till then.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious, something far more nefarious.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious, something far more nefarious.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits. misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits.
We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. We still don't know what the hell went wrong in Surfside, Florida. Whether it was rusty rebar or something far more nefarious, no one is acknowledging out loud. Something far more nefarious, something far more nefarious.